Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Million Mom Movement community. My name is Dominique Jeffries. I am a Green Diamond leader with Purium, and I'm also one of the newest council members on the Million Mom Movement. Tonight, I'm joined with my fellow council members, Naeva and Sherry Packard, and we have a lot to share with you tonight. Tonight's call is going to be specifically highlighting our business opportunity with Purium and how you can earn income, sharing superfoods, and empowering the people in your community to live a healthier lifestyle. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I just first want to acknowledge that even though our movement is called the Million Mom Movement, MOM actually stands for Movement of Many. So our mission is that we are 1,000 people in 100 communities committed to spreading health, well-being, and economic opportunity around organic superfood nutrition with 10 families each. So I just want to reiterate that our mission is really for everyone, right? If you're a mom, if you are a daughter, a son, a husband, an elder, a child, we welcome you to be a part of our community and our mission. And it's truly centered around family health and community transformation. So speaking of families, we always like to open up these calls to share, our Million Mom Movement pledge. And my friend Janelle, she says she would be open to sharing the pledge with us. So I'm going to share my screen and she's going to read it out loud. And yeah, here we go.
Let's see. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of non-meat ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing the movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Janelle, for volunteering to share. And if you could we'd love to hear a little bit about your story, what that pledge means to you and, your family and why you decided to be a part of our community. There we go.
And I'm very passionate about what I became with started Purium. I never knew how much nutrition really meant to my my headspace, my nutrition, everything for me and my children. I'm 3 months into my ULT and I've been consistent. And I mean, it's just amazing like how much it's changed my overall, my focus, my gut health, everything. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey and um, learning so much more, as to the benefits and yeah, all around nutrition. So it's amazing. It's an amazing journey. So appreciative.
Thank you so much for sharing and congratulations on being, so new into your journey. I know a lot of people on this call are from all different spaces in their journey, whether they've been here for years or if, they're just now joining. So we welcome you and congratulate you on starting and also just being a part of our community and being willing to share your story. That's really what the blessing is here, is all of us being able to share our story so we can empower and impact more people. So thank you so much. Okay, so I want to get into tonight's call. So the title of our training or our call tonight is Wise and Wealthy, How Matriarchs are Creating Wealth for Generations. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm really excited to share about this topic specifically because I just love this business model, right? Network marketing is incredible, especially for women, because it really allows us to create a community of people who are committed to building relationships and sharing love and building wealth, especially for women. So I just wanted you guys, if you could drop in the chat right now, what does the word matriarch either mean to you or who comes to mind when you think of matriarchs in your community or in your family? Just gonna read the chat. I know it could either be your women in your family. It could be someone in your community, maybe even a part of your organization with your Purium business, or maybe someone that you work with. Okay, someone said, my sister said power, wisdom, exactly. Mothers, wives, women, mom, grandmother. Ooh, Joy said the glue, the mothers that hold it all together. I love that. Exactly. Yes. So when I think of the word matriarch, immediately what comes to mind are my grandmothers. So I added some pictures here of my grandmothers. You see my grandmother, Loretta, she is my mom's mother, and my paternal grandmother, Doris Jean. And when I thought about creating this presentation, they came to mind because they just truly embodied what leadership was for our family. My grandmother Loretta, she was super spicy. She was a Scorpio. She was very assertive. Put a 1 in the chat if you have any women in your family that are like that, where they're super assertive. They don't take anything. She was also super short too. She was about 4'11", but had the energy of someone who was, her energy was just much more taller and bigger. Yeah, people are saying their grandmother for sure, right? Oh, Carrie said I'm a Scorpio. Yeah, so you understand her energy, right? And then my paternal grandmother, Doris Jean, she had a very like calming and graceful energy. And I feel like I picked up a lot on her energy and just, how she was as a woman, but she was super caring and, like I mentioned, super graceful. And so I took on, their energy, their love, their power, and I truly resonate and I'm grateful for them and everything that they taught me and also created within our families, because they were the glue, like someone mentioned in the chat, for our families. And they also were the 2 people who inspired my journey when it comes to holistic health. So my grandmother Loretta, she actually passed from Alzheimer's, and my grandmother Doris Jean, she passed from a stroke. And so when I watched them suffer from both of those, illnesses, I realized that I needed to transform my quality of life in some way. And obviously nourishment was one of the first ways that I was introduced into holistic health. And also why I'm so passionate about helping families, because it really does start with um, our stories and where we come from and our backgrounds. And my grandparents, they didn't have the resources that we have today, especially here through Purium. But it's important to me to not only empower myself to transform my health, but to give this blessing and pass it forward to other families. So I wanted to just share this definition exactly of what a matriarch is, right? So it's a woman who is either the head of a family, a community, a lineage, and is respected for her wisdom. And I wanted to honestly highlight that it's not about their age, right? It's more about their energy. And I think that that's what really makes us special as women, is that we create this energetic field of wisdom, of presence, of influence that we don't, honestly, that speaks more than words, right? It's something that I don't know if you guys have ever heard that saying that people don't really remember what you say, right? They actually remember how you make them feel. And when I think of matriarchs, I think of just their presence and their embodiment of what it means to really be a true leader. So leading with their heart, leading with their vision, guiding people, through experience, but using their intuition to really strengthen their community. So why matriarchs matter? This was something that I really resonated with when it comes to just how we are all connected, right? Especially as women within our families. We hold the seeds of the next 3 generations within our womb space. So when I think about my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, how I have been with her entire life. I was in her womb space before I was even born. And not only do obviously I hold a lot of her incredible qualities, right? But also hold a lot of the things that she may have struggled with. But because I was born, I came here to transform that and to create a new lineage for our family, and to also just express myself in ways that she might not have felt safe to be able to do so. Right. When it comes to women and matriarchs in our family, we also are mostly the decision makers, especially when it comes to health and food, but also when it comes to finances. And when we think about really creating change and trajectory of a new future, it really starts with the woman being able to make that decision and transforming the quality of the family's lives as we continue on within our lineage. So deciding to lead differently. And I know a lot of people who are on this call, if you decided to partner with us in this mission, you had a desire to create a new life for yourself, for your family, or for your community, right? You saw what was possible here and how we can really create long-standing change when it comes to health, wellness, and also our income. So when it comes to this business model, right, multi-level marketing, I honestly think that this business model was truly designed for women to thrive. And I love it the most. I personally did not know about network marketing, multi-level marketing before I was introduced to this company. And it was something that at first I was just wanting to partner just so I could be able to create extra income because I lost my only source of income working at a restaurant during the pandemic. But what it opened me up to was this incredible blessing that it was everything that I was actually praying for when I was working in the restaurant. I was looking for freedom. I was looking for community. I was looking for personal development. And it just kind of encompassed everything that I was looking for. But when it comes to women and being a matriarch, right, in our community and in our families, this business model truly holds or honors the feminine leadership within almost like a masculine framework, right? So a lot of us, especially in the society in America, we are operating in this old narrative of competition, burnout, overworking ourselves, being really independent, doing everything on our own. It's this dog eat dog energy that is not sustainable. And it doesn't really feed or nourish or nurture women when it comes to creating income or just honestly living in general. So when it comes to multi-level marketing, right, we have this space where we are only as successful as the team that supports us, the team that we create. So one, you're able to, build bonds with people through relationship building. That's the one thing that women were just natural at. We love connecting with others, sharing our stories, being vulnerable, trusting, building connection, right? This safety net of emotional security, collaboration and growth, right? It rewards personal development, being able to learn from each other, whether that's through your upline or your downline, we all rise together. And also just thinking about what qualities we have as women, right? Like our intuition, community, having aligned action. We are not in, I would say, in the masculine society of business, right? It's more so focused on money. And while though a lot of times we do have a strong why when it comes to creating income for our families, it's not driven by money alone, right? It's actually nurtured through aligned action and really having a purpose when it comes to what we're growing, whether that's our why for our family. Exactly. Yeah. Janelle said purpose. If it's a vision that we have for our future, for the people around us to feel better and to feel grounded within our health, that's what really helps us grow here. So we truly can't just focus strictly on creating money alone. It really has to be about what we're really nurturing and creating for everyone to succeed and to feel good. And then one of the other things that I love about this business model is that I like to think of it as a living legacy. Right. So one of the first things that I learned about network marketing and multi-level marketing was that it's a willable business. So I personally don't have any children myself. And I love that what I'm building now will really be able to nurture and feed my family for generations. So as I continue to share these superfoods and build my team, I know that I will be able to support my family that I have not birthed yet. So if you're on this call right now and you do have a family or you do have people that you would want to pay this blessing forward to, you can share this business and you can, will this business to them and it will continue to grow with and without you, right? When it comes to leadership, it's a legacy of true leadership, right? Leadership is really about embodiment. It's not necessarily what you do all the time, but really about who you're being. And I've had to learn that just through this business model myself, right? Like I'm put a 1 in the chat if you're building your team, if you've ever gotten stuck in that management mode, right? I think a lot of times as women, we like to nurture everyone and make sure everyone's safe, has everything they need. And it takes us away from embodying leadership, which is really doing those action steps to grow our business and continue to stay in that space. But this business actually holds space for you to learn how to balance both. And I'm sure if you are a parent on this call, you can resonate with that, right? Like you definitely want to nurture your children, but you have to lead by example because, right, I've heard this quote all the time. Like a lot of the moms in my community say, kids they don't follow what you say, they follow what you do. And that holds true when it comes to this business too. When it comes to having business partners, they're going to energetically pick on what you're doing, not what you're saying. So leaving a legacy of true leadership, empowering your leaders to lead themselves, and that will continue to duplicate and replicate within your business, which is what our entire business model is built on. Exactly. Dan said duplication. Janelle said, you're running around with my kids right now, plus my friends. Exactly. And sometimes that can be difficult, right? When you're learning to find your flow and find your balance between nurturing, but holding space for them to lead themselves and then continue to lead yourself. So if you did put a one in the chat about that management mode, it's good that you have the awareness because now you can start to shift your energy and truly stand in your power as a leader here. Right. And then one of the last things that I love about this business model is the legacy of nourishment, right? We, at the end of the day, are sharing nutrition. We're sharing high vibrational superfoods. And that legacy itself of just being able to empower someone to transform their quality of health from the inside out is something that it's a seed that you're planting that will nourish them forever. And not just nourish them, especially if they're women, but nourish future generations. And I know everyone here, I know even when Janelle shared her story early on, she's in a new experience here. She's starting her 90-day transformation. And a lot of things are shifting, but those of us that have been here for years, we know how impactful this food has been for nourishing ourselves, not just our body, but our emotions, nourishing us throughout the personal development that we have in this business. And to me, it really is that anchor that always brings us back to embodying the highest version of ourselves. It's the one thing that we continue to lean on is the superfoods that we have. And when I also think about leaving a legacy of nourishment, it just reminds me of my grandparents, right? My grandmothers, they didn't know about the quality of the foods that we were eating at their time. There weren't as many environmental toxins or just chemicals that they put in our food now. But unfortunately, they did pass early on than they probably needed to because of the quality of foods that they were eating. So I get to be the person in my family that changes the trajectory of our health and creates this new legacy, this living legacy of nourishment of superfoods, right? Where we can have a balance between eating clean and nourishing ourselves on a cellular level and still enjoying the foods that our family members pass down to us, right? Our family, like heirlooms almost when it comes to the way that we take care of ourselves when it comes to food. So these are some of the things that I truly love about this business model. And I think that it really is so impactful for us as women to stand in and to be empowered with what we have as a blessing here, to be able to create this living legacy through food, through community, and have it as something that we can pass on to our family for generations. So I wanted to introduce my friend Carrie. She's going to share her story. She's a part of our team. She is an interior designer. She's been an interior designer for over 30 years, and she's a mom of two. As you can see, I have this picture of her two boys here. And her story is really powerful just from where she was, the business model that she was in for years, having her own retail store, and then transitioning now into network marketing and online business model, and just also stepping into leadership as a mother and transitioning into this new way of creating income. So I don't want to share too much of your story, Carrie, but if you could unmute, you should be able to unmute, and would love for you to just share a little bit about your story, your background, and what this business model means to you for creating residual income for your family.
Thank you, Dominique. I'd be happy to. I love this topic today. I had saved a post on my Instagram yesterday that I want to share. I just thought of this. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. But it said there's only 4 species on Earth that go through menopause, and all of them, it says we're never meant to, oh, never mind. It's going too fast. I can't read it. But I love the idea of the matriarch and the role that we step into. I am a 62-year-old woman. I was a single mom. Those were my baby boys that were pictured with me on my most recent birthday. And like Dominique said, I have had my own business for about 30 years. I'm an interior designer, and I purchased a brick and mortar retail store back in 2007. And my father helped me with the down payment. And it was later on that year that my father passed. He had colorectal cancer, and he had been struggling with it for about 5 years. And watching my father go through that system, that medical system with the chemo and the radiation, was kind of the beginning of my awakening of health and nutrition. And so, in addition to being an interior designer, I've just always been very interested in health and wellness and longevity, and always just trying to optimize my health. I'm the one in the family who, at Thanksgiving, my brother hosted and he had honey baked ham, and I said, "What?" And I got the ingredients up on my phone and I started reading it to everybody at the table, and I'm like, "This is poison." Um, but yeah, so I've had a brick and mortar store and an interior design business. My retail store I had for 17 years, and I had 5 employees. My overhead was probably about $25,000 dollars a month. And I went through the 2008 recession, which was really, really difficult, but pulled out of that. And let's see, I've dealt with all kinds of issues over the years, because being a small business owner, you're always dealing with some kind of problem with sales tax, or just payroll, employee relationships. And so I had thought for a few years about closing my retail store, and but I was always really nervous about doing it. And every year it just got harder and harder with the advent of iPhones, smartphones. People would come into my shop and love the space and get inspiration, and then take pictures of my products and go shop online. And so as a retailer, it just became harder and harder. And I met Troy, Casey, and Barbero through Instagram, actually. And they actually came and we did an event in my store the first time they came out, and we did like a healthy happy hour. And I kind of shared with Troy, my frustrations with having a brick and mortar store. And it was one night he had called me. I had not been in the business for very long. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just getting ready to close the store." And he said, "Good." And I said, "No, I mean for the night. I'm just turning off the lights and I'm getting ready to go home." And he's like, "Well, when are you going to get rid of that store?" And I said, I'm just really scared about letting go of something, even though I wanted to. My heart wasn't in it anymore. And he said, "Well, what is in your heart?" And I said, "Well, Purium's in my heart. I mean, if I could, I'd rather just, talk to people all day long about health and wellness." And he said, "I coach a lot of people, Carrie, and most people hesitate when I ask them what's in your heart, but you knew immediately, and you responded right away." And so that really got me thinking. And so I think that week I called my accountant, and I talked to him about what he thought. And we kind of came up with a plan for a year. If I liquidated my inventory, I would be able to live for a year and just really give the Purium a shot. And so I decided to do that last January. And I've made it a year, over a year. And I was always worried that my design clients wouldn't find me, but I've managed to get several design jobs this year. And what's amazing is that I just don't have all the overhead now. So I actually, am able to acquire a little nest egg, which is amazing. And most of the people that have known me for years in the community, they're like, oh, do you miss the store? And I say, no, not at all. I love the freedom that I have now. I am able to do the things that I love to do. I like to get out every morning and walk my dog and sit in the sun and, just work on my computer. I'm able to go to the gym and Pilates, and um, it's the freedom lifestyle and the residual income that is really important to me. I can probably work doing interior design for another 20 years. And that's good to get, I have to sell a job and work the job and, deal with the customers and all of that. And then once that job's over, I need to sell another job. And so right now I'm combining both because I still need the income from my design jobs, but I am slowly building my Purium business, and it's the residual income that is so appealing to me because, like most of you know, once you get a customer and they become a customer for life, that's something that you can count on. And that's, my legacy that I want to leave to my children is that residual income. Uh, so that's basically my story. I'm a year and 3, 4 months into my new adventure.
Yay. Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for sharing. I love that Troy asked you that question, right? Like, what's in your heart, but also
Mhm.
that you trusted yourself enough to follow it, because it's easy to know what your heart's desiring, but not feel safe enough to take that leap. And you did, and now your quality of life has changed, right? Like, I love you when you say I get to walk my dog, I have all this free time, and I get to really take care of myself and nurture myself in what I want. And I love that also. Yeah, you mentioned the residual income that we have here with this opportunity that we continue to grow just by sharing food and empowering people. And I know you say as you continue to grow your team, but what can you share as far as when it comes to personal development that has supported you in this business model coming from, the work that you used to do and how different it is here as being a leader and working with others and leading others? How has that supported you in just your empowerment as a leader?
Yes, a lot of personal development. I am not a person who loves being the center of attention. And so I had never actually been even on a Zoom call before Purium. I never have. I got through COVID without having to really work remotely. And so just even getting on team calls and asking a question or sharing something was really a challenge for me. I've stretched and grown and led some calls now, along with you, Dominique, and Lucy Mays, and that's been it's been challenging for me, but I'm getting a little bit, more comfortable with it, and I just love the community that Purium has brought to me, and I've made, some nice relationships and friendships through Purium. I just think it's a great community, but yeah, just getting out of my comfort zone and asking people to take a look at the products and uh, share my knowledge about health and wellness because I'm not, a certified health coach or anything, but I have just in my own life have applied and tried so many things over the years that Purium is just a really easy package, and it's so convenient for my lifestyle because I really care about eating organic and dense nutrient food. And so, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much again for sharing your story and, yeah, being willing to stretch yourself and grow in this community and, yeah, lead calls, share your story more. That's really where we grow the most, is when we step up as leaders. And I just continue to wish you the best and grateful just to be a part of your team too, and, learn and work with you. So thank you, Carrie, for sharing.
Yes, thank you, Dominique. You're an awesome example too of a young leader. I really admire your leadership.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. Perfect. Well, next, I have another special guest. I'm so grateful she was able to jump on and share her story. Tracy, thank you so much for being on today. I, wow, could introduce you in so many different ways, but I've watched you over the past 5 years as I've been a part of this community, just been so um, honored, one, to be able to speak with you tonight on this call, but just am really incredibly grateful for your leadership and what you created for your team and your community, because I've learned a lot from a lot of the crowns that you've been able to create in your organization. And just I'm grateful just to learn or have you share your story and what truly being a matriarch means to you, because you really are a matriarch in our Purium community. And just, yeah, would love to hear your story. So I welcome you on this call tonight. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Dominique. And it's so beautiful to be here with everyone. And I'd love to offer an invitation first, if I could, and ask anyone who is able if you wouldn't mind joining us on the screen, because it's helpful for me. It's a gift that you could give to me because I respond so much to interaction versus like one directional conversation, right? I do consider this a conversation with each of you and collectively. And that's something that this beautiful community really offers us is connection. And I listened with great interest to all of you speaking, so far and Carrie, what you said about, kind of that idea of sometimes you have to make a choice between do I work for someone else and build their dream, or do I work for myself and carry the full burden on my own? And what if there wasn't an or? What if you could have the best of both worlds in working together in reciprocal support? And that's another beautiful gift. There's so many that Purium really offers. And so, for me, I'm not a mom, but I have a mom, and she's been a tremendous influence on who I've become today. She was a stay-at-home mom who had her own business. And so I would professionally answer the phone as a child, saying that, okay, I'm answering the phone for her business. And it really impacted me to have somebody to go home to. I wasn't one of those latchkey kids that was left alone. And, but still, society, we're part of the biggest cult in the world, which is society. That's the biggest cult in the world that we're all born into. And there are certain things that you're taught along the way. We all get sent to school in a very structured, cookie cutter way. And I like to say, because I personally struggled in that kind of system, that if you measure a cheetah by how well it swims, you have really missed its gift. And so struggling growing up in the standard school environment, I was fortunate to have a mom who was also my advocate. And she found me a special school to go to because my brain just works differently, not the standard way. And you go to school and then you do or don't do well in school, and then you're supposed to get a job, right? I mean, that's how the world works. You need money to survive. And so for me, I lived in a household of 6 people who lived in a 2-bedroom townhouse, and I wanted nothing more than to get out of there and be on my own 2 feet. And thankfully, getting a GED instead of a standard high school diploma never held me back. I didn't feel it did in finding the first corporate job, the next corporate job. Now I'm in the system, right? And you have things like 401ks, and I'm going to take care of your health insurance and all the sparkly extras that you only get if you need this to have security in your life. And we're learning very quickly now that there's so much economic instability for people who have chosen these more standard structured environments, that all of a sudden one day you're laid off for no good reason, right? And I remember before coming to Purium, my last career job was as a mortgage banker. So I identify very closely with you, Carrie, in terms of once that job is over, now what next? How do I pay my mortgage next month? And at that point, I'd gone through a divorce, single woman in Hawaii with high property values. Now I'm paying a mortgage and all my bills on my own. I couldn't just leave my mortgage business and put everything into Purium. But it made it so that because I had such clarity about creating residual income and I wanted nothing more, as I looked at the expanse of the next 40 plus years of my life and thought, am I going to stay in a structured system with a 401k where I don't have my own time and I'm so exhausted that I need the weekend to just decompress, veg out, think about nothing, and then get up on Monday and do it all over again? Well, when you're a mortgage banker, you can't even do that. You're on call 24 hours a day because if your deal doesn't close, you're not getting paid. That triggered my nervous system so badly. I knew that just to settle into a life that felt good for me, like a life I wanted to live, I needed that residual income. And so every moment that I had, I built my business in the spaces. And in 8 months, I was able to achieve Crown and replace a six-figure income and then go on to create even more income than I'd ever made in my life, right? It would be one thing if it was a good paying job, but it wasn't just that. It was residual income. It was the best opportunity I've ever been a part of. It's been the best investment that I've ever made in myself and in others, because of the reciprocal support. And I've had the privilege to work with so many moms. And I love that for us, it's the movement of many. There are, of course, our literal moms who have given birth. There are our moms who mother people. And then there are our men who are part of the movement with us. And so having this movement of many where we can all collaborate together and start to break some of the generational patterning and some of the bonds of the societal cult that we've been a part of, it takes being together. It takes locking arms. It takes that network, because anyone who wants to make a lifestyle change, you already know you're not going to succeed alone. You need a circle of support around you with other people who are doing the same thing as you, thinking the same things, making the same changes. You'll get better results faster that are longer lasting when you do it with other people who are already in your lifestyle, people you work with, people you play with, people you have family with, or any of the things. And I want to say this, especially to our women, I want it to be okay for you to do this for the money too. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it sometimes pains me that, especially with so many of you moms are givers, 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 givers. It's everything for your children. You'll do it to the end of the earth, all of those things. And yet the conversations are starting to have is that not wanting to pass down to your children the value of self-sacrifice as a primary value, right? Because that's what ends up happening. If what you do is self-sacrifice, then you teach self-sacrifice. And if you want your children to be whole, then be whole. Do it for you. That it doesn't have to be, your why doesn't have to be for someone else. It first should be for you. And then by extension, it creates resource, it creates time. When you're fully resourced in yourself, you can support so much more while being supported at the same time. So I've had the opportunity to create that residual income where when my mom needed someone to care for her, I was there. And when my auntie broke her hip and she couldn't take care of my mom as her primary caregiver, I was able to take both of them in and care for them. And I give you major props, moms, like superhero status. Absolutely. I'm not used to having a household where I'm responsible for other people or making sure that they're eating or sleeping or doing any of the things that all of you so brilliantly do day in and day out with no breaks of your own. I get to send them home. That was my privilege, is that they did go home. So there's nothing like network marketing to expose your gifts as well as your limitations. And so valuing this for everything that it has to give, where we don't have to make a choice between working for someone else and also not having to carry the burden by ourselves, but be in reciprocal support, it really is a place for us to re-identify, redevelop our identity. And I love to just give you a quick thought, Carrie, for yourself in moving forward, as when you came on and you said, I'm an interior designer, right? And that was your immediate identity, is you can start to redefine that. And even to play on words, even you could say, I'm expanding my boundaries. I'm expanding my concept of interior design to not just be for your home, but for your body, right? It's just like, how do you expand the definition you've had of yourself or reinvent it? Personally, I'm a gap filler and I'm a professional network marketer. So I invite you to take on an identity, a role, a title that's befitting of who you're trying to become, not just who you've been. And that's the brilliance of what we have right now, is a fresh start in so many ways that we don't have to choose also between products or business. It really is, and along with the community, personal development, mentorship, and stewardship of the earth. So we give ourselves on the inside what we need so our bodies can do more of what we're supposed to. And we fill our circle with people who want to move in the same direction as we do. And together we do rise. Together we can make a difference. When we silo and separate, that's what definitely tears us down. So coming together, working together, playing together, supporting each other. And if anyone says it's like a cult, just look at society and tell me you're not in one already. And it's always pick your poison, pick the best of both worlds. If this is a cult, I'm all in. So thanks so much for having me today. It's really beautiful seeing you all.
Thank you so much, Tracy. It's beautiful having you come on and share your wisdom. And you literally are in the embodiment of a matriarch, right? In the lineage that you've created within this company, within your organization. And everyone's giving you so much in the chat, so much love, and just reiterating all of the blessings that you just shared with us, that we all are remembering and will hold true to ourselves to continue to step up and rise as leaders here. So thank you so much. Perfect. Well, this is the time where we love to open it up to the community. We want to hear from you all, right? We would love to hear your stories, how this opportunity, this income has blessed your family, what personal development things that you've had to experience or that have helped you grow here as either a mother or just as a person within our community. So if you would love to share your story, please raise your hand and we'll call on you. And I see Allison has her hand raised. Hi, Allison.
Hi, what a beautiful call. I'm so glad I got to catch some of it, at least Tracy's share. That was so beautiful. Thank you. I relate with so much of, so important that I got to see you as a leader, someone who also struggled with school and struggled with like learning disabilities. But I love that expression, like you said, with the cheetah, and I say with that expression, you can't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, and we all have special gifts, and they weren't being recognized in the old system, in the old way, the cult, because I was falling through all the cracks. I fell through those cracks in school, fell through the cracks in work life. I got fired from every job just for, just like I wasn't shining. My gifts weren't, I cared so much, but that's not what is valued in, most corporate structures. And so I had really low self-esteem my whole life. And this opportunity was the first time that someone saw me and believed in me to be successful. And that is so powerful. So what we get to do, what we get to pay forward to others, when we see them and we see their potential and we believe in them, is life-changing, life-saving. And where I was before, I was really struggling. I was trying to make it as a freelance stylist. And it's a cruel world, the fashion world. So, coming from very competitive and a lot of just toxic work environments, people trying to screw you over, people not like, just there's always someone who will do it cheaper and, just a lot of exploitative stuff. And I just didn't think I could do something else because I was scared of school. I really wanted to help people. I wanted to go into like something in a helping profession, but I also did attempt to go in back to university, and it was really just not it was just that was my only option. I wanted to go to psychology. I wanted to help people mentally, but the school system just did not, I wasn't able to I just didn't see the way that I can really help people through that system. And I love that we get to create our own titles now. I call myself like an empower mentor, that's a new word. Like that's not a job title, but I get to invent that and I get to claim that because I've had now the experience of helping empower people who didn't believe in themselves and mentor them to heal themselves into success that they never believed was possible. So I love the creativity. I love the freedom. I love the limitlessness of being able to help as many people, and just that we get to pay forward that beautiful gift that was given us, that someone saw us and saw our potential, and that, that is just the greatest gift ever. So I don't take that for granted. I continue every day to pay that forward. And our success has, I hope, inspired many others, because if I can do it, anyone can do it. So yeah, we're 2-star crown, going for 3-star crown, and we're just getting started. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Allison. I'm always just so inspired by your story. And I resonate too with what you said, being in the fashion industry, right? Like I was a model for years and I was only recognized or valued by the way that I looked, but not my heart, or not by wisdom, or not my leadership skills. And I didn't really know what was possible for me, or I didn't have any dreams of really having my own business necessarily, but I knew I had these skills that weren't being nurtured. And this opportunity was shared with me, and it encompassed every skill that I've held within that I wanted to express, and I have the opportunity to do so. And like, everyone, you mentioned Allison and also Tracy, is that we just have the freedom here, the freedom to be ourselves, the freedom to create whatever we desire. And it's incredible to feel that and to have the opportunity to do it, but to also do it with people that share the same vision as you. So thank you for sharing your story as well. And yeah, we have time for one more. So Kristen, I see you have your hand raised. You should be able to unmute now.
Hi, thank you so much. This is such a great call, and it was so wonderful to hear from Tracy. I get to train with you twice a week, and just has been such an incredible opportunity for me. I found Purium 3 years ago, and my health was fading. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis 11 years ago, and I was kind of I knew nutrition was what I needed. I just didn't know how to get it, what I needed. And then I found Purium, and I was looking for this opportunity as well. I was working in the medical field and really burnt out. That was just really detrimental on my health because I was so burnt out. And then I was just exhausted. Just like Tracy said, I was absolutely exhausted. The weekends, my days off were just wanting to rest and not live. So yeah, I've made some pretty bold steps lately, and I'm pouring everything into Purium, all of my attention and as much as I possibly can. And it's just been really exciting. I have new people coming on board with me, and just building incredible relationships and helping people in the MS community, in the autoimmune that are looking for better nutrition. And so I have a whole group. I have tons of people that are looking at me now, and it's really, really exciting to do this work. It's the best money I've ever made because I'm helping people. So it's the most fruitful way to live. So thank you so much for this call.
Kristen, I love that what you just said. It's the most fruitful way of being, of living. I love that. And that also just ties into what, we mentioned, or what the title of this call is about, is just matriarch and creating wealth for generations. And that fruit feeds us nutritionally, it feeds us emotionally, financially, and it's just such a blessing. So thank you all for sharing your stories, being a part of this community, and continuing to grow so we can impact more lives and more families. So I'm going to pass it to my fellow council member, Naeva, and we're going to wrap up our call tonight.
Thank you so much, Dominique, for leading us on this beautiful presentation today. And thank you to our guests for coming and sharing your stories and your wisdom with us and inspiring us with everything that you had to share today. There was so much responsiveness in the chat of, what everybody got from what you were sharing. And so that's really beautiful. And we would love to invite you, if this is your first presentation with the Million Mom Movement, we are here as the movement of many. We're all inclusive to everyone here, and we'd love to invite you to become a part of our community. And so you can see here, we have some different social media platforms. We'd love to invite you to like our Facebook page, Million Mom Movement, as well as join the group on Facebook, which is Million Mom Movement Official. That's where the replays are posted, and lots of great community action there with people's stories and different things. And we want to invite you to participate in that group as well and share your wisdom and stories in there. We also have an Instagram page where we'd love to invite you to follow us, as well as tag us in your stories and your posts so that we can repost you and feature your stories and your posts and reels onto that page. So please use our hashtags or just tag us, and that way we can find your content. And then last but not least, we'd love to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we have over 300 replays from over the past 5+ years of presentations, which have so many impactful stories within them. So one of the suggestions I like to give is that you can Google Million Mom Movement and the keyword of something that you're looking for, a testimonial or a certain genre of information, and you'll probably find some replays that relate to that will pop up in your feed through our YouTube page. And we'd also love to just remind you that our calls are now on Thursday, every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific. On the third Thursday, which is next week, we will be talking about the Speller's Revolution, which is an autism presentation. And we'd love to invite you to go over to our Facebook page, join the group, and start thinking about the people that you know in your community that could use this information, people that might be looking for solutions. And so think about those people, reach out to them. If you need more information, you can find it on our Facebook event and invite them to that next presentation. And of course, our last presentation of the month, the fourth Thursday, will be our spring renewal, which we'll be talking to families about how to get more nutrition into our families and go into spring and spring cleansing, as it's that time of year where we're spring cleaning our homes and we can spring clean our bodies as well. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. And please reach back out to the person that invited you here. If this is your first presentation, they invited you here because they care about you deeply and they want you to be a part of our community. So we'd love to invite you to become a part of the community, an active participating member. And we hope to see you next week. Is there anything else you'd like to share, Dominique, before we close out?
No, that was all. Thank you all so much for joining. And yes, can't wait to see you again next week. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Kate.